This evening. Thank you and welcome to everyone who's joining us for the BayREN Homeowner Energy Efficiency Workshop this evening. During the next hour and a half, we're going to have a variety of presentations which are going to help you understand the BayREN program, the sorts of rebates which are available, and how the program works so that you can get the rebates. In the course of the evening, the presenters include Colleen Nolan, who is a community organizer with Sustainable Contra Costa, Damian Hardman with the county, senior energy planner, works very extensively with the BayREN program. We have Curtis Weintier as a contractor. One of the homeowners is Maureen Morelli. Two other contractors who will be joining us this evening are Larry Waters and Keith O'Hara. All of these people will have a chance to introduce themselves to you a little bit as we get a little bit further into the presentations. Again, I mentioned Eliana Botrez already, and we also have as our producer this evening, Tyler Snordham Phelps. At this time, I would like to turn the presentation over to Colleen, who will be speaking about a program that has been set up across the county over the last couple of years. Colleen, are you available?
Yes, I am.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. As Doug mentioned, my name is Colleen. I'm a community organizer at Sustainable Contra Costa, and I'm here tonight to speak about a program called the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge. This program is an online platform that is in line with the resources from BayREN tonight, and this is a platform that allows you to log your household carbon footprint, take sustainable actions, and work with others. Next slide, please. And before I start, I'd like to acknowledge that this program is funded by a generous grant from the Bay Area Air Quality Management District. We also partner with Contra Costa County and the cities of Walnut Creek, San Pablo, and Antioch. Next slide. Now, this website or platform is a free resource that you can access. It's found at cleanercontracosta.org. And you can see here that we have some metrics of the folks who are participating. As of tonight, we have 807 households. And this right here is just a landing page. You can click on Why Join to learn about why community organizations are supporting this project. But I'll give a little bit more information about how it works and why it's so useful to us. Now, to log in, it's super simple and fast. You just click the login button at the upper right-hand corner, and all you need to do is put in your name and a functioning email address. Next slide, please. Now, the beautiful thing about this platform is that, again, it is free. It's available to anyone who lives or works in Contra Costa County. And the core of the platform is the actions page. And actions are the tools that you're going to use to make an impact. Now, we suggest that you learn about how you can get started, but actions are items that can range from canceling your paper junk mail all the way up to replacing household appliances or maybe investing in a hybrid or an electric vehicle. But we do have actions for everyone. We have over 70 actions, and most of them are free or low cost. Click, please. We also have a new tool where you can choose actions that worked for you. So you can choose if you'd like to have an impact or save money in your home. You can also choose a difficulty if you just want easy actions like changing your thermostat settings. You can access things like that. You can choose any upfront cost and how much time you'd like to invest as well. And if you're a renter, you can find a lot of actions that will work for you. Next slide, please. So each action has a page with instructions, and this makes it really easy to get started. So even if you've never heard of one of the actions, each one will have a step-by-step guide for you. Now at the top here, you can see it gives you an estimate of the impact, how much time you might spend, and any cost investment. And this is an action I love to point out because it's super helpful to everyone, whether you're a homeowner or a home renter. This is called Choose Green Electricity. And this is an action where you can power your home with solar or wind power without installing solar panels. So it's super useful. Next slide, please. And each action has a step-by-step guide that breaks it down for you. Next slide. And click. And you can also find local resources that work for you. So it's great. You can go online really anywhere on the internet and learn about why something like solar power is important. But the difference here is that you can learn about the specific impact that this action will have in your home and also find local resources that will work for you. Next slide, please. Now, another distinction that the platform has is the ability to create a team. And we all know that when we work with our friends, our family, or our neighbors, it's a lot easier to take on a project and take action. So it's quite easy to form a team. All you do is go to the left side of the challenge page and you can choose the team icon. That's the icon with all the people in it. And you can see that I'm part of a team called There Is No Planet B. And a team is an easy way to keep track of what you've accomplished together. So far, you can see that we've completed 48 actions and we've saved about $1,600. Next slide, please. And you can see here that we have 6 households in our team, but together we've been able to reduce 7 tons of carbon dioxide. And that might be kind of hard to visualize, but 1 ton of carbon dioxide is the amount that would fill an average ranch-sized home. So just picture an average home and multiply that by 7. That is a significant amount of carbon dioxide that we've been able to save together. You can also see that we're in 3rd place, so having a friendly competition and earning prizes is another way to take part in the challenge. Next slide, please. As I mentioned before, there's something for everyone on the challenge. So whether you're on a budget or if you're hanging out at home, we have items that will work for you and your family. If you're familiar with actions like turning your appliances off, maybe adjusting your thermostat, you can also find actions that are a little bit challenging. So for example, if you'd like to upgrade your appliances, which is what we'll be talking about today, or maybe choosing green electricity for your home, we have resources for you. Now, if you'd like to get started, we also have a goal that we suggest here. This goal is to reduce 5,000 pounds of carbon dioxide in the first 6 months. And this may sound very ambitious, but I encourage you to go and look through the challenge. Each action has an estimate of how much you can save in terms of water, energy, money, and also carbon dioxide. So this is a way that we can take action together and fight the global problem of climate change. Next slide, please. And finally, I'd like to point out our progress again. Since April 2019, we've had 807 homes join the challenge, and we've been able to accomplish a lot together. You can see that together we've saved over $84,000, over 134,000 gallons of water, and also 185 tons. So I encourage you to check out this platform. Again, it's totally free. It's found at cleanercontracosta.org. And check out what you can do as an individual, but more importantly, look into how you can create a team and encourage your friends to take action with you. Next slide, please. So that's the end of my presentation. Again, feel free to check out our site at cleanercontracosta.org. If you have any questions, you can contact me at the email on the screen, or you can leave them in the chat box right now.
No questions so far.
Leave the meeting.
Thank you, Colleen. Appreciate that. For everybody out there, if you haven't joined the Cleaner Contra Costa Challenge, please check it out. Sign up if you have the opportunity. At this time, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Damian Hardman, who is a senior energy planner with the county and the man who heads up a lot of the BayREN activities in the county. He'll have an opportunity to explain the program and the opportunity for you to both improve the energy efficiency of your home as well as also receive rebates for that work. Damian?
Hi, thank you, Doug, and good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending tonight's Zoom webinar. We really appreciate it, and hopefully you're going to get some really good information this evening about rebates and kind of learn some stuff about making your home more comfortable. So I will talk more about that. My name is Damian Hardman. I'm a senior energy planner with the County Department of Conservation and Development. BayREN has been around for quite some time, since about 2012, 2013, and basically I'm the BayREN representative for the county. You know, we will talk about what BayREN is. Next slide. All right, so what is the Bay Area Regional Energy Network? We are all 9 counties coming together to implement energy efficiency programs. What you're going to learn about tonight are about some of the programs that we offer throughout all of the 9 Bay Area counties. That includes all the cities in all of these counties, all the unincorporated areas. So as long as you're in one of these counties listed, you can participate in what we're going to be discussing tonight. And it should be noted that all of this funding comes from the California Public Utilities Commission. So what happened is the county, well, all the counties got together and decided to become a program administrator to run energy efficiency programs instead of just having like PG&E do it. So historically, you guys may know PG&E ran a lot of rebate programs. Well, our county kind of came together and with all the other counties to decide to run the programs. Next slide. All right, so I said a little bit about what BayREN is, but BayREN is really the local governments. So all of the 9 counties, like I said, have come together. So we're looking at all kinds of things holistically, and a lot of the things that we're talking about helps facilitate our government's policies related to climate change, energy efficiency, things that are good for, you know, reducing carbon emissions, and then building capacity for the government. With building code compliance, those kinds of things. Next slide. All right, so what I'm going to show here is just a list of some of the programs that we have. We have for our residential program, what we're going to be talking about tonight in the most detail is our Home Plus single family program, which is a rebate program I'm going to talk a little bit more about. We also have a multifamily program as well. And then we also have a codes and standards program, which is really about giving local government building departments more resources for energy code compliance, and then some financing options for commercial buildings and what we call water bill saves, which is only in a few water districts throughout the Bay Area, but we're trying to expand. All right, next slide. All right, so why are we here tonight, right? Many of you are like, okay, I'm here. I want to learn about rebates. I want to learn about energy efficiency. Well, we're going to talk about what are some of the common problems in a home, right? So there might be moisture in the attic. You might have a drafty room. You're uncomfortable. It's been like that for years. You've just put up with it. You might have a wall heater that's just in one area of the home. It doesn't heat up the rest of the home. You might not have insulation. All kinds of issues with homes that were built many years ago. So we'll talk more about. Next slide. And one thing that we want to talk about, so we're saying these are homes that are really, you know, could be uncomfortable, right? Well, one thing that a lot of people don't know about is indoor air quality. Next bullet. I think there's 2 or 3 bullets there. And one thing that is just noticeable is really indoor air quality it can be much worse than outdoor air quality. And you guys were like, hey, we're in a fire. You know, how many of you have been aware of public safety power shutoffs, may have been impacted by that because of, you know, fire season and because of fires, right? So, you know, the air quality gets really bad outside. Well, we need to try to make the indoor air quality better, right? So one thing that people don't know is indoor air quality is often worse than outside. And a lot of people like myself are susceptible to asthma. And if you have indoor air quality that's bad, you know, you can end up having bad asthma, like me. And so doing a home upgrade could actually improve that. And there's some studies now that show that. Next slide. Oh, there's a kid. And then, all right, so what do we do? You have a home that it might be needing some help, right? How do we diagnose the issues with the home, right? Well, there's a couple of tests you can do. It's called a duct blaster test and a blower door test. Duct blaster test is what it is. It puts the airflow in through the ducts to test to see if there's leaks. Same thing with the blower door test is to see where are other leaks in the house. You know, and those are some of the things you can do to figure out, you know, how bad is your home if you've got an older home and you know, are there leaks? Next slide. And there I am about air leakage. There are all kinds of opportunities for air leakage in homes, especially a lot of the older homes that have been built. They've been built in ways that, you know, are not, you know, that comfortable these days. And a lot of people just put up with it and don't realize it. Next slide. So what are some of the things that are some of the issues? Insulation is a top issue. So there you see the item on the left there, the photo on the left. That's just really bad insulation. It's not done correctly. There's a lot of leaks there. And then on the far right, that's kind of what you want to do if you do it right. You put in insulation that's foam, or, you know, it covers all the issues. That's what we're going to be talking about tonight. Next slide. And then ducts.
Hello.
All right. So we're talking about ducts here. You've got leaky, dirty ducts. A lot of homes do. A lot of homes have been around a long time. They've never done, their ducts haven't been replaced. It hasn't been done correctly. Then all of a sudden, what are you getting? You're getting all that bad air, potentially from your attic, if that's where your ducts are at. That air is coming right into your home, and it's really bad for your health. So something to be thinking about. Next slide. All right, water heaters. You've got the old water heater on the left there. It's not really, they're not the safest these days. They can be safe, but you know, there's opportunities for, you know, improving your heating system, and the one on the right is an example. And we'll go into more detail when the contractor talks about all the technical details, but I just wanted to showcase that. Next slide. And this is just combustion safety testing. This is one of the things they do for the safety. There's some photos that show that. Contractor will talk more about that as well on at the next presentation. And then cooking. All right. So a lot of people are like, one of the things that we're looking at is now induction cooking. A lot of people like their gas stoves. Totally get it. I'm like one of those people who love the gas stoves, but there is this great technology, induction cooking, and you might go, well, what great cooks are using it? If those of you who are familiar, the French Laundry in Napa actually uses induction cooking. So it is something you can do. So I just wanted to highlight that. That's an option as well, something for people to consider when they're doing upgrades to their home. Next slide. And electrification, which is kind of tied to that induction cooking. All right, let's get away from the gas appliances and go to electric appliances. Why do I want you to do that? It's much better for the environment long term, for meaning our climate goals, for our local jurisdictions. So there are options for doing that are really great, that are super efficient, that are better. You might say, well, what about public safety power shut? Well, we hope to resolve a lot of those issues in the future, so that, you know, there are other options to address that through solar panels and battery power options as well. Next slide. All right, so after I've given you kind of what's your problem with your homes, you've kind of like thought about, some of you are probably like, okay, well, yeah, I've got this one problem with my home. All right, well, where do I start? Next slide. Well, here's where you can go. You can go to BayREN Home Plus or BayRENresidential.org is the website. We'll have that on another slide, but you go to that website, there's a whole bunch of options for you. So we have an online home evaluation, a free energy efficiency kit. We have energy advising, which is a free third-party energy advisor that can provide you some technical assistance. And we've also got rebates, which I'll be showing in the next slides. And then to participate in the rebates, though, you have to go through qualified participating contractors. Next slide. All right, so here's some of the rebates. I've got a lot of slides to go through, so I want to make sure we have time for the contractors to speak, but this is just a snapshot of what the rebates are. Some of them, we got smart thermostat, duct sealing, duct replacement, and then we've got some building shell measures. And these measures are R44 insulation. That's above code. That's why we allow for rebates. I put R44 insulation in my attic as it's been a game changer for our house. So it's really incredible. And I've also had asthma for have not had asthma for 2.5 years once we did changes to our home and fixed everything. And now I've got clean air coming through our ducts. So that's great. Next slide. All right, heating and cooling measures. These are other options. So this is, your high efficiency central gas, your high efficiency central air conditioning. Here's some of the rebates that are available, and the water heating measures as well. Next slide. And then more heating and cooling electrification measures. So there's some incentives to do some electrification as well on there, and that's in there as well. And then water heating electrification measures. And then if you are an MCE customer, there's $1,000 plus another $1,000 for MCE to the contractor. Next slide. Next slide. I wonder if we're having network issues. It looks like, oh, we lost our presenter. So let's see, is there somebody who wants to pull up the slides? I can pull up the slides if I need to.
I can go ahead and pull them up.
Okay, great. Thanks, Ellie. Sorry about that, everyone. That's part of the life of doing this stuff online. Sometimes we lose our network connections. We've got other people for backup, so she's getting our PowerPoint slides put together. But what I will say is, doing these home improvements, they might be a little costly, but if you get a participating contractor, one thing that's great is these participating contractors are really, they're really experts in this work. And that's why we ask for participating contractors to be part of this, this rebate program. So, Ellie, any luck? Let's see.
So sorry, now my internet is also being
Okay,
slow.
I'm gonna pull up the slides myself.
There you go.
Here. Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, awesome. All right, next slide. All right, cool. Here's appliance electrification measures, induction electric range, and then heat pump, clothes dryer, and then so there's some additional measures there. Next slide. And then bonus measures. If you combine one or more building shell measure, you get additional $500. Or you downsize a heating and cooling system, you get $100. And then combustion appliance safety CAS test out, there's a rebate for $150 for that. Next slide. All right, participating contractors, which was what I was about to go into.
Oh no, I'm so sorry.
So one thing about participating contractors, this is really the key to this program for us. And a lot of people get frustrated that they have to go through a participating contractor. But for single family homes, no home is created equal. They are all very unique. And you need to have a contractor who really understands building science. And so we require you to use a participating contractor. These contractors get additional training. They understand that the building as a whole. And if you have to replace out a heater, you know, and use a regular contractor, they're just going to replace it almost like for like. They're not going to actually size it for the right type of home. A lot of them don't, unless you know, you have these expert contractors that really know what they're doing. Next slide. And this is how you can just find a contractor. So it gives you an idea of what it looks like on our website. It's easy. You can go by county, and it shows you how to find a contractor that's a participating contractor. Next slide. Cool. And financing options here, you know, basic stuff, credit cards. You can go through a REAL, which is a special lender. You can go through them. That's a unique option. And there's PACE, Property Assessed Clean Energy. Check with your local city or your unincorporated area to see who your PACE providers are. It's usually on the city website, or if it's with the county, we've got a list of PACE providers. You can look that up as well. And then obviously your traditional lending through mortgage products. Next slide. All right, complementary programs. This is, I'm going to talk about one additional program that is kind of tied to our single family program. Next slide. So this is the home energy score. There's an opportunity for you to get a score on your home to see how energy efficient it is. It is really helpful for kind of educating yourself as a homeowner, and you can get an assessor, a home assessor, to do this for you. And there's a rebate available for that, a $200 assessment rebate, which is really cool. It kind of just gives you, you know, and there is some studies there. If you've got a decent score, the average score is about 5, but if you have a decent score above that, there's some evidence that your home will you could sell your home for a higher percentage than regular homes. Next slide. All right. So like I said earlier, you can check with a home energy advisor. This is where, like, if you have 3 bids with 3 different contractors, you're not sure which bid to do, you're confused about the process, you're not sure what you want to do. There's a phone number here. You can call them, or you can go to BayRENresidential.org, or you can, I believe, you can email them at advisor@BayREN.org. And I think the contractors can correct me. I'll look that up and I'll put that in the chat actually, regarding what the email address is. That there's an email address as well that you can find. Okay, next slide. All right, so where do you start? Call an advisor if you're really confused. Find a contractor, go to BayRENresidential.org. It's pretty simple. Those are your key things you need to know if you want to participate in these rebates. It's pretty, it's a complicated thing to do when you're updating your home. So you should just be patient, go through the process, and you've got this free service, which is really awesome. Cool. Next slide. All right, that concludes my presentation for this evening. If there are some burning questions, let's see, it looks like there's a few questions in the chat.
I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing for a minute and then I'll reshare in a second.
Okay. Yeah, and a couple of basic questions I'll answer directly on the chat. Looks pretty straightforward, and I'll try to answer some of these questions on the chat as we go along. And then any other questions that I can't answer, we'll have the contractors answer after the contractors have done, the one contractor has done their presentation. But thank you, everyone.
You're muted, Doug.
Yes, thank you, Damien. At this point, what I'd like to do is bring on one of the contractors who works in the program. We have Curtis Weintier with us this evening from MasonBP. And he'll be talking specifically about a home in Concord that took advantage of a fairly significant amount of the BayREN rebates. And I think we're also supposed to have Maureen joining us. Is that correct, Curtis?
Yes, I just got a message from her and she just got online. So we should be able to have her join us towards the end of our
Okay, great.
presentation.
Well, I'd like to turn the presentation over. Ellie, do you have a screen share again? Yes.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Curtis Weintier, as Doug had mentioned there. I'm a participating contractor in this program, and I'm really excited to share this project since coming into this, the customer really was unsure of what direction to go with her energy needs. Basically, needed someone to guide her through what she needed and maybe some options for her. But first, to go into who we are and what we're about, back one slide, please, or a couple slides. Yeah, right here, about us. Awesome. Thank you very much. So who is MasonBP Incorporated? We're experienced general contractors, HVAC contractors, and insulation contractors. We started in general construction, and we kind of from the founder, Lowell Mason, and we really kind of got into energy efficiency when we realized that there was a lot of improvements that could be made to the homes that were being built and the additions and whatnot there. So we really got into that to meet those goals and needs. I got into HVAC at that point in 2008, and then following insulation contracting as well. We're Building Performance Institute trained and certified BPI Gold Star contractors. We collaborate with homeowners in the East Bay and surrounding regions since 1971. And we really specialize in electrification. My first trade was as an electrician, and moved into heating and cooling, and then into really the carpentry and general construction. So I'm really into electrification. I'm super excited that these times are having a fuel switch now. So what is building performance? And building performance is an attribute of a building that expresses how well the building carries out its functions. So to understand where your home is performing well, and also there are areas of need for improvement, a lot of times we like to have an energy assessment. So we do energy assessments to find out where there's some areas for improvement. We do focus on increasing energy efficiency and lowering the building's carbon footprint. So we're not just a traditional HVAC company. We're really into energy upgrades. We want to improve your indoor air quality as well. That's, like Damien said, something that a lot of focus has been directed on as of late, and also comfort there. Next slide, please. So diving into Maureen Morelli's project, she has a single family home built in 1955, beautiful landscaping, really neat home, great curb appeal, 1,200 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home with an open concept kitchen, living room, and beautiful wall-to-wall windows in the back of the house. She has a beautiful garden in the back, and you can see it really well through her back windows. It's been upgraded in the kitchens, bathrooms. It's really a beautiful home there, but it needed some help. Next slide, please. So some of the existing issues that prompted Maureen to reach out to us was that the biggest one was that her air conditioning was not working anymore. She was looking for options. She wasn't wanting to repair the unit. She really wanted to know what options she had if she was going to put any investment into her system. She wanted to know what options there were. So there was some really large differing temperatures in various rooms. So with that wall-to-wall window configuration in the living room, it was really hot. It was in July that I went out there, and we were using just a really a small portable air conditioner to get this place even livable. So as well, she didn't have any insulation at all. So in the one half of the house is vaulted, and the other half has a attic area, and there was no insulation in that area as well. So same photo that was part of Damien's slides there. These are areas where we were looking at different areas for improvement outside of just maybe upgrading her heating and cooling system. So we kind of started to focus on a whole. She was in the thinking in the direction of a mini split. I started to guide her through other options and other areas for improvement as well. Next slide, please. So we're really into homeowner partnership. Electrification is confusing, so she was wanting to fuel switch. She just needed to know what her options were and what direction to go with this. So here's where we helped her in making some decisions. So we addressed your concerns and questions: gas versus electric, repair, replace, many more. We explain and compare options to create a customized plan that fits your needs. We will share and explain why we recommend these upgrades. So we don't just give one bid. We have options for you there, provide information for low finance partnerships and affordable options. So we were able to use the Go Green financing here, which kind of opened some doors to more upgrades than she originally was looking to have done there. And of course, through the BayREN program, we were able to kind of go a little bit more into her needs there. So our goals and focus is how we can best help you. Next slide, please. So in her case, when we finally went through everything and decided with a plan, what we upgraded there with our customized plan for the homeowner there was we air sealed the attic. We did new insulation R44, the new ducts R8, ducted mini split in zone 1 where the bedrooms and more of the bathrooms areas were, and then the high wall ducted or ductless, mini split heat pump in zone 2 where we had all this glazing load, or where we had all the windows. Also, there was a little additional ventilation. We had bath fans that were just vented into the attic, and so we wanted to make sure that everything was done well before we filled that up with a cellulose blown-in insulation. Next slide, please. So here's some before and after photos of her equipment and her home as well. Starting to the left there, this was her original 80% gas furnace. It was in the garage area with the water heater. And after we put in a ducted system that was able to be mounted in that same location, she had some limitations for where we could put the equipment. So it did fit right in that same area. And on the top right area, you see we also added the ductless mini split unit up on the wall there. Also, this is the outdoor air conditioner, real traditional looking air conditioner, 14 SEER. And after we were able to get the multi-zone outdoor heating unit, all 23 SEER for our seasonal energy efficiency rating. Next slide, please. Up in the attic, the great part was she didn't have insulation, so we didn't have to remove the insulation, which was helpful. But this is the before, as there was no attic insulation. And then you can see one of our technicians is up in the attic area air sealing. So all that orange places on the top plates and around the fixtures, that's all foam air sealing that you see that's being put in there. And then after, this is our R44 insulation. So we filled that attic with insulation to R44. Next slide, please. So what did Maureen Morelli receive in rebates through the BayREN program? We were able to get the R44 installation in the attic, $900 there. High efficiency heat pump, 17 SEER, must replace entire load, so 1,000 there. CAS or combustion appliance zone testing, 150. Combined building shell with HVAC, 500, and there was a kickstart rebate there too, so $3,550. Her project, I would say ballpark wise, is in about the $15,000 range, so that's a really nice rebate. Next slide, please. Maureen Morelli's, this is her windows that I was talking about. So it's really a beautiful set of windows there. And I want to see if we can get Maureen on here with us, because I'd like for her to talk with you about her kind of outcome in her home there. Maureen, do we see Maureen on here at all?
Maureen's online, and she should be unmuted.
Okay.
Hi. Hi there.
Maureen. Hi there. How are you tonight?
Good, good. How are you?
Doing good. So would you like to share with everyone how your outcome of your home was, and talk a little bit about the process?
Sure. Yeah, so when you started working here, I think the temperature was about, I don't know, high 90s or hundreds, so it was really hot, and the air conditioning wasn't working at all. And I had another person come out, and they had, just wanted to replace the system I had, which wasn't really working. It never really worked, actually. And so right now, well, when it was warmer, it's so much cooler in here. The ceiling is vaulted, so if you're on a ladder, like when I was painting in here, on the ladder, it was clearly like 20 or 30 degrees higher than the part of the house that you're standing in. So that's made a big difference having the mini split in here, because the other option was replace the roof or put, insulation in the roof, which were all very costly. And I still would have had to do an air conditioner. So that's made a really big difference in the main part of the house. And then in the back of the house where the bedrooms are in the hallway, it's so much cooler there in the summer, and was very much more comfortable, and seemed like it held the cool air better. And then now with the heat on, I've had the heat on about 62, and I'm actually feeling kind of hot in the house at this point. So yeah, it's working pretty well. So really well.
Awesome. And I also have here that we have a big difference in the, let's see, am I muted? Oh no, I'm good. Okay. Also, we're seeing that it is a much quieter system.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is much quieter.
I hear that a lot, because we don't have such a high fan speed on our ducted units, or even the high wall units. And
yes.
A lot of times we get people kind of caught up on the high wall unit or the air handler inside of the house. And I remember the day I had it up on the wall, the first thing that you said was, wow, that's really clean. That looks very nice. And it blended in really well with your white walls. Yes,
it does. I like it.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Maureen. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, it's a lot nicer outside also, because it had kind of a hideous looking air conditioner out there before, and it's a lot cleaner and quieter outside as well. The look is much cleaner, neater.
Awesome.
Curtis, question came in from one of the homeowners this evening, asking about the difference between the technologies like the mini splits and the heat pump technologies versus the in-window air conditioning units and so on. So if you could just briefly talk about what the heat pump technology is and what the options are there.
Absolutely. So the heat pump technology versus that would be that it can heat as well with the refrigeration component. So with the reversing cycle of the refrigeration, it can also heat. With the window unit, that's kind of what we consider a package unit. So that unit is all combined in one unit, where these systems are split units. So you have an indoor air handler, and then you have an outdoor condenser. So with the outdoor condenser being away from the indoor air handler, it cuts down on quite a bit of the noise, because a lot of times with those window units, they're obnoxiously loud. But it does still use Puron refrigeration to cool, but then it also can heat as well, which is just a great. And with Maureen's project, she has a ducted system. So imagine being able to distribute that air instead of just in that one room, but throughout the house, almost like a, or it is a centrally ducted system. So it feels much like the more traditional units, but it's using refrigeration.
Thank you. At this time, what I'd like to do, Curtis, if you could stay with us.
Great.
We have a couple other contractors I'd like to introduce you to at this time. And then we will set up a contractors roundtable so that we can take questions from the homeowners and use this as an opportunity to get specific questions answered about your particular home improvement project. At this time, I'd like to introduce Larry Waters and his firm, Electrify My Home. Larry, are you on board at this point?
I am with you, sir. How are we all doing today?
I think everybody's good so far.
Good. Great job on that presentation, my friend. That was awesome.
Great. Hey, thanks, Larry.
Hey, I
Good to hear
think
from you.
Damien a couple minutes ago called us trained professionals. What he left out was we're all a bunch of home energy nerds is what we are. And that's why regular air conditioning and heating people don't do things the same way we do. All right, where's that presentation? Start my video.
So sorry. Okay. Okay. Do you see it in?
Yes,
both
I see
views?
it. Isn't that beautiful? My name is Larry Waters, and the name of my company is Electrify My Home. It's the first of its kind only electrification company.
Larry, could you start your video? Are you in a place where you can do that?
Yep.
Add a smiling face to
Failed to start the camera. Hold on. Boy, everybody's got communication issues here. Okay.
Oh yeah, my speakers weren't working. I had to put the headphones in. I was kind of panicking right before this, so we're all dealing with it.
I think what's probably going on here is I have.
Larry, it's okay. It would be nice
Okay.
to see your smiling face, but
Well, here we go. I'm
Okay.
on. I'm still on in another place here. Okay. Webinar. Anyway, so yeah, this is my slide deck. We have that anyway. Okay. Start video.
here you are.
All right. You can see me now?
Yes.
Hallelujah. My name is Larry Waters, and I've already taken up half my time. I don't see my pitch deck here.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go.
There
Okay.
it is.
My name is Larry Waters. I have the first of its kind electrification only business. I've been in the trade for 39 years. So I think I might be older than this fine looking young man here. I've got a lot of years in doing this. I did my first electrification project in 2015, where I kind of accidentally put in a system that heated and cooled the house without costing anything, because I added a little solar to it, and we kind of figured out the secret sauce, and I just got crazy about it. And since then, we've sold a couple of hundred of these all over the Bay Area and up and down the I-80 corridor. We go ahead and hit that next slide. Gas versus electric. You heard a little bit here. I'm going to kind of get down in the weeds a little bit. What's wrong with gas? Why do we want to electrify? Obviously, there's maintenance problems with gas, bulky ducting systems, leaky, inefficient systems, lots of pollution, carbon monoxide risk, which is huge. You have electric appliances in your house. You don't have to worry about that anymore. And the best type of carbon monoxide detector is not needing one. And rising costs, gas prices are going to go up, up, up over the next decade, crazy high. What's right with electric? Man, they are so comfortable. And he pointed that out. They're incredibly safe, clean, and economical to operate, and also economical to purchase in comparison with some of the other systems that are out there right now. Next slide, please. How we work, we're a little bit different. We do all the things that the other companies do. We can do blower door testing, duct testing, whole house. I'm a whole house BPI certified guy. But what we come to do is really understand your goals and needs, do a complete energy assessment in your home, measure the place out, and do a comprehensive load calculation so we know how much air we need to get to each room. We really specialize in the ducted mini split technology, where you get all of the benefits of the mini split systems, but you get the kind of central air approach. So it still feels like central air, like he said, silent to operate. Once we measure and quote, we schedule the job out, come install it and test it, and then we give you amazing ongoing support. Next slide, please. Why us? Other than just my dynamic personality and awesome computer skills, I've been in the trade for 35 years. I'm an innovator in this. I'm part of the Building Decarbonization Coalition. I'm a trainer and a teacher. I've designed a couple of hundred of these systems all over the Bay Area since 2015. I'm a noted expert on home electrification, heat pump technology. I worked on heat pumps back in the old days when they were bad. I'm an advisory member of the Decarbonization Coalition. I'm certified NATE and BPI, and we give you a 100% comfort guarantee. Next slide, please. We're here for you. We've got you covered. I think I squoze all that into 3 minutes, just like I was supposed to. How'd that work out, Doug? Are we good? Thank you. I'll be on for some questions.
Yeah, thank you very much, Larry. Yes, you did amazing. Thank you for that. Please stand by. We have one more contractor I'd like to introduce at this point, and that is Keith O'Hara. And are you unmuted? Yes.
I am. I have video.
Okay.
How you doing? Good job, Larry. My name's Keith O'Hara. My company is Eco Performance Builders. We're in Concord. And we've been in business for about 10.5 years. And we are home performance, HVAC and insulation contractors, specializing in heat pumps like the other two mentioned. And basically, we just fix a lot of houses around the Bay Area to make them work really, really well, and switch them to all electric fuel source, make them much more comfortable, much more healthy with air quality, and much more efficient. This is our team. We have about 17 people in our company out there fixing homes every day, living in attics and crawl spaces, and doing some of the hardest work around. And they're what makes it all happen. So I just really appreciate them. I'm just gonna give you a quick rundown. I'm sure you've already heard everything I'm gonna say from the other guys, but I have a few things that we do. So if you just go to the next slide for me. Like Larry said, we do full mechanical design, so mechanical engineering on every home. First, to determine where the building is losing heat in the winter and gaining heat in the summer, and how we can reduce that to put in a very small system that doesn't use a lot of energy and makes the home much more comfortable thermally. Next slide. Then we go around and we usually take a lot of that stuff out that's up there now and start over. So we rip all of that out and we air seal everything in the attic, so your attic doesn't communicate with your home anymore, so you don't lose that energy and get that really bad air into your home. And then next slide. And we put in new mechanical systems that are really well designed, really well installed. We verify that they have zero duct leakage, so we don't want any leakage from the ducts going outside or any air from the outside going into the ducts. So next slide. Then we install a whole bunch of insulation. We have a gigantic insulation machine and truck and a fantastic insulation crew all in-house that work after our HVAC guys are done. And they just pretty much bury everything in cellulose insulation that we can get our hands on next. Then we verify and commission, make sure everything's exactly how it's supposed to be. And make sure everything's calibrated and testing out to the numbers that the manufacturer gives us as far as the performance data. So the only way to really do that is to measure everything and get a lot of detail in it. Next. That's more of just where our measurements go, just geeky stuff. Next. And then there's our team again. And that's the whole thing. Yeah, like I said, we're in Concord. We've been in business a long time. One thing I would like to say for those out in internet land, that if anyone knows anyone looking for a career change or to get into the trades or adjust into HVAC career, we're definitely hiring. We've been hiring for the past 6 months or so, trying really hard, and it's hard to find people. So if you know anyone that's looking for a job, go ahead and reach out. My email is on the first slide. Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. What I'd like to do is bring all three of the contractors back in and open it up to the audience with questions that can be very specific, very technical, specific to your own home, things that you may be considering doing. And perhaps just to get it started, I'd like to go back to the question. We've been talking about the heat pumps now. All three of the contractors are expert in being able to install those. And it really is a very different sort of system than the sort of thing that you're used to with a gas furnace. And they can be, and correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but they can either be basically something that looks like it replaces the furnace, so that you have one central location and the air, the hot or cold air is moved out throughout the house through ducts. Or the other one, which is this mini splits that you've been hearing about this evening, is the idea of hanging small units in particular parts of the house to maybe heat and cool a single room, or maybe a kitchen, dining, family room area or something like that. So you have different options depending upon what you need to accomplish. Did I relatively cover that fairly well?
Sounded good to me.
Okay, super, excellent.
Yeah, Doug, this is Damien. I just wanted to add that for those of you listening that are watching this too, and these are some of the best contractors around, the ones that participate in BayREN, but particularly the ones that we have presenting that are here tonight. So these guys really know their work. They do really great work. I've been working with them for several years now through the BayREN program. These guys are the energy efficiency geeks when it comes to homes and how it all works. They really care about this stuff, and it really makes a huge difference in how your home comfort is going to be when they're done with your home. It's a game changer for those of you who have older homes that you haven't fixed for decades. You know, it is huge. So I wanted to personally put a pitch out to them, and this program wouldn't be what it is without them and the great work that they do. So
thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
We have questions coming in now, and for starters, how long does it take to do an electric system with new attic insulation and ducts? And Keith, perhaps you could take that one.
It kind of depends, but our average job is about a week or two. We're usually in a home and we just taking everything out. It's taking a day or two, and then just starting over is a few days, and then compiling to get everything tuned in and attic insulation and everything back in place. It really depends on what you're getting though. If you're doing ventilation systems, vapor barriers, things like that. So the scope of work definitely impacts the length of time, but a week or two. And, you know, I'm sure we all get porta potties and things like that, and just try to keep out of your house as much as possible.
Question here for Damien. I would like to get my home inspected to make sure it's energy efficient. how can I go about doing that?
Yeah, well, I mean, unless it requires a building code to do that, you really need to go through one of these contractors to do a blower door duct blaster test or do an analysis to find out what's going on to ensure that it's where it needs to be. The above and beyond that, if you're going and getting a building permit for whatever work you're doing, you just need to get a building permit. And my argument with that is that doesn't necessarily mean it was installed correctly, no matter what it is that you're doing, because our building departments really, from the county's perspective, and I don't speak for all building departments because the cities get mad at me. This is my opinion. They only care about health and safety, and that doesn't mean they are checking to make sure the installation was done correctly. When some upgrades are done to a home or other things that are done correctly, they're just making sure that the building doesn't fall or other structural things are being done right. That because they don't have a lot of time when they're inspecting homes.
I would add to that, and I think maybe the thrust of the question is finding out before you start work how what the energy efficiency issues are in the home. So
Yeah,
I would suggest any one of these 3 contractors or any of the other BayREN approved contractors who specialize in insulation would be happy to come out and talk with you. And there's certainly inspection services that can be run to determine where the cold spots are and the hot spots and the various other things that need to be repaired or fixed or upgraded. Is that again, pretty close to it for you guys, the contractors?
Absolutely. Sounded good.
That's right.
Question here for Larry. Can a mini split provide all the heating and cooling in a home in the Bay Area?
Well, absolutely. I mean, it obviously depends on the home. But we design systems for houses that are 600 square feet all the way up to 6,000 square feet. Just a matter of how they're going to be installed and what type of equipment and how many you would need. But we take a look at the house. We have a pretty unique process on our website. You can fill out a no visit audit form, and it gathers a lot of information about your house. We do a little bit of investigation online, and then we schedule a phone call or a Zoom meeting with you and kind of go through the process. And we can get pretty close to a budget for these projects without even wasting too much of your time that way. So that's one way to go. And then I can answer that question pretty securely.
Great, thank you. Question here, can a small opening in your duct attract rodents? And the answer is absolutely positively. So they're capable of getting through very, very small spaces.
It can also be created by them.
Well, that's true. They can chew their way through. Absolutely. Okay, live in an old home. We have plaster walls. Would a contractor be able to remove the plaster walls and install new insulation? Or do I need to go through a GC to do the plaster walls and then hire your team? And I think this one, perhaps Curtis, you may have an answer for that.
Oh, this is actually perfect. So I'm working on a home right now with plaster walls, and we are insulating the walls. So there isn't any removal of that plaster. We'd just be drilling holes, about 2-inch holes, and injecting insulation cellulose into those holes. And then we just plug them up and patch it. So it is a bit of a process, but much less than, say, what you're thinking there. Not removing all your plaster and sheetrocking. It's a lot more seamless than that. And in areas where we have tile or say maybe wood paneling, then we can always look at maybe injecting insulation from the outside and finishing it from the outside as well. So we don't necessarily need to take, or in most cases, we don't take any of that down.
Damien, you had perhaps another comment on that?
Sorry, I was on mute. No, I think he covered it. Thank you.
Great. Question here, what kind of plans or documentation does a full project like the case study require? Title 24 electric line diagram, Curtis?
Yeah, so during the permitting process, yes, all of that it's something that we take care of. We're turnkey with everything from the start to finish, rebates, all of that. So we like to handle the kind of permitting process. So in the planning department, if we're say moving the machine from one location to another, they might need some, it might need to go through the building planning department. Running electrical lines is usually not, it's not necessary, just depends on the jurisdiction, but it could be needed, and that's something that we can provide. We're a design build contractor as well, so we design additions, new construction. So drawing up a little bit of plans for the planning department can be done in a snap. Take care of all of that.
Thank you. Keith, is it recommended to get a home energy score prior to upgrading the house or afterwards?
We don't do that normally, but people really like to do that. And I know the program really likes to do that. So I believe the politically correct answer here is yes.
Okay. Damien, how does the rebate process work?
Yeah, and actually, I think the contractors can answer that better than I can if there's a contractor regarding the rebate process, because each contract is a little bit different. Some contractors embed the rebates cost in the total cost of the project, and you don't see rebate. And some contractors choose to make sure that that homeowner gets the rebate. Are there, as far as the process, that's usually done through the contractor? It's my understanding. If anybody wants
Absolutely.
to add to that. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a pretty simple process. We take care of all the paperwork and background inspections that you need to do. This is not like when you went to Staples and didn't get your $20 for that ink cartridge rebate. This is a real program. We have assistance through a third party, processes everything. It's nice and easy. You don't have to worry about any of it.
Great. I think this one's for all three of the contractors, or maybe maybe we can come to a consensus. How far out are you booking inspections?
I'm about a week out on an inspection and probably a couple of weeks out to get an installation started.
And Curtis?
For me, the visual inspections probably about same a week or so, and then if we're to do an energy audit, I'd say probably more like a couple weeks for that, and then to do the work with Thanksgiving and all that, a little bit over a month out for installations right now.
And how about you, Keith?
Yeah, we're experiencing a lot of demand. So audits, our main auditor is actually on paternity leave. He's having a baby today or tomorrow. So we're a little booked out on audits and assessments, and I'm taking the reins trying to get some of those done. And then on work, like I said, we're hiring. We have 17 people trying to fix houses every day, but we're months out on actually getting a large project done. With smaller type projects like ductless mini splits or some of our installation services, it's definitely sooner, but on large projects, it's pretty far.
And how are the contractors handling COVID safety requirements at this point?
We have a set of protocols in place. We do temperatures and questionnaires with all our guys before the start of the job. We keep a bottle of hand sanitizer nearby and a box of new face masks on every project. Some of the guys like to wear their own, but we're very good about social distancing and making sure that we partition off the house. If there's a place that the homeowners want to stay, we have a partitioning system that we can install to kind of keep the work away from the homeowners.
Are there county requirements that all of you folks are having to meet?
There's a lot of them. Yeah, we all meet them, and we have, like Larry said, stations set up, COVID stations. We have a COVID site supervisor every day, so no one can come to the house unless they are verified through the COVID site supervisor, even if it's a friend or another person or something. And it's just a lot of things, and a lot of it's really cool that we had already, and some of it was really new ideas. It's been helpful. Everyone's felt really safe, from the workers to our clients, and so it's been working pretty well. And we're kind of, it's just business as usual now, and the guys all know what to do.
Yeah, and I'd like to add to that that the county does have very stringent guidelines through the county health department on that. And our building inspectors are now responsible for ensuring that all of the contractors are doing the appropriate protocols for safety for COVID-19.
Thank you. So here's an interesting one. Hadn't thought about it, but if you're using induction cooking, does it require on a wok that the wok have a flat bottom on it?
They make like a special insert, I think, for it to go onto the induction cooktop.
So it's not the shape of the wok itself, or it needs something else to actually.
I think they make a
manage
little
the
mold
heating.
for it to stand on, right? Is that right, Larry?
Distribute the heat. Yeah, I've heard about that. And then it distributes the heat.
Yeah, just a little stand that goes on the wok and it goes onto the induction cooktop.
Okay.
I never used one. I don't use a wok, so I don't know.
Okay, so actually we have a gentleman on with us this evening. Hang on here a second. Let's see if I can bring. Tony, I've unmuted you if you'd like to answer that one.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, for induction cooktops, the important thing is that the actual pot has to be magnetic. If you have a kitchen magnet and it can hold to the pot, then it can be supported on an induction stovetop. It works best if it's a flat bottom wok for that, because the induction will induce the heat directly on the actual pot itself for that. So it works best if it's flat. So the traditional wok, unfortunately, because it's rounded, doesn't work as well because of that. So usually the flat bottom woks work better for that, or a pan that has a large flat bottom, because the way the induction works, you get a uniform heat across the entire pot from that. Very fast heating from that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. We have a question. What's the average cost of an audit for a 1,700 square foot home? Is there such a thing as a standard cost for an audit or an average cost for an audit?
Our audits are $499 for that.
Yeah, that would be around $500. Yeah, depending on where it is.
We offer a pre-audit where we come out and do a walkthrough. We found not everybody's interested in moving forward with this once they hear about it. A lot of people are. So we really want to get down to business and look at a lot of things, give you an idea of what your budget numbers are, and then we come in and do the audit, and then we charge $450 for that audit.
I see, Ellie, we have somebody who raised their hand. Is that individual still there? If we could bring them in.
Katrina Bird, go ahead. You are permitted to talk.
She's muted.
Is she unmuted?
Okay,
there
can
you
you
go.
hear me?
Aha, okay.
Okay, so this might be a little bit off of what you guys do, but my house shifts a lot. And I do have, like, where the house is gapping at, where it's splitting. Do they have anyone that does estimates to see why that's happening?
That's usually a foundation issue. So you need a foundation contractor to go take a look, and they'll do measurements and see where it's shifting. And then there'll be an engineered plan in place where they would drill piers and tie it into your existing grade beams.
Okay, is that usually really expensive?
Unfortunately, usually, yes.
Oh, wow, okay.
It
That's
depends
all
on what you mean by really expensive. It depends on the house and the situation. I've built a lot of things on hills and things and seen shifting on existing homes. So sometimes it can be a lot and sometimes it's not terrible, but.
Okay. Okay, so just to found somebody that does foundation. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for that, because I wasn't sure who to go to.
If you email on my first thing, I could possibly refer you to somebody.
Okay, wait, the first, you said email
Oh,
where?
on my slide, Keith@epbuilders.com, KEITH at epbuilders.com.
Okay.
We'll be sending out all this information to all the attendees. So you'll have contact information for all the contractors. You'll have copies of the slides. You'll have written answers to the questions and so on and so forth. So all that will be coming out probably within about a week to 10 days.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. That's all I had.
Thank you.
Yeah, and Keith, you can in the chat put in to all, I think to all attendees, your contact info. All the contractors could do that if they wanted to, I think.
Yeah, in fact, yes, good idea, Damien. Each of the contractors, if you just chat out your contact information to the entire group, that'd be great. Question with regard to induction stoves and the heating speed. What is the comparison with gas? Are induction stoves 90% as fast, 110% as fast, or something else? Larry, perhaps?
I don't have the experience of owning one of these appliances myself. Unfortunately, my house is going through a step-by-step electrification process, but I do have a cooktop that I use, and I was able to get it from Amazon for about $80, and I use it a lot. And it's but it plugs into the wall, and it's only 1800 watts, but it boils water about 10% faster than my power boil setting on my gas range. So it's very impressive. It doesn't use a lot of power, and the best part of it though is it dials in on a temperature, and you can tell it what temperature you want that to be, and it's right on it. That's my favorite part of it.
Actually, this is Tony. One thing also about the professionals, what they like about induction is that they don't have to choose the burner size, because if you choose a pot that's too big but too small of a burner, it takes forever to heat the pot. The other way, if you have a small pot but a big burner, you're wasting a lot of the gas and you're spilling a lot of the combustion gases into your home trying to heat a very small pot. So cooktop, getting the pot size to the burner is one of those difficult things. I think the estimate is like stovetops are like 25% efficient, and that's getting the burner matched to the pot. With an induction, the way it's done is it inducts the heat straight onto the part that's in contact with the induction. So the entire bottom gets uniformly heated. And so the heat goes straight into the food. None of that heat is wasted to the perimeter, to the side. That's what happens with gas or electric resistance. So that's sort of the benefit and why induction's faster. It's actually directly heating, the heat's actually being generated in the actual pot itself, because it's using the induction to actually generate heat from the iron core of the pot or pan. That's why it heats faster. The heat goes straight into the food, and that's why it's faster in cooking than any other technique, whether it's gas or the old, electric resistance. That's the benefit of induction, and why professionals are shifting to it, because they have better control than ever before.
Can you go a step further with that and actually explain the principle behind induction cooking?
Oh, with induction cooking, it uses an electromagnetic coil on the actual element, and that goes straight into the magnetic or the iron core of the pot or pan. That's why, to know if a pot or pan works, you would just take a kitchen magnet, and if it sticks to the bottom of the pot, they'll work with induction. A lot of new pots and pans have these little stamped logos in the bottom. You'll say like flame compatible, electric compatible, and induction compatible. It looks like a series of loops for that. So it just uses electromagnetic to generate the actual heating of the iron core. And since it's heating the pot, it goes straight into the food top. The actual top of the induction stove doesn't get very hot, other than conduction of heat from a hot pot next to it. That's sort of the advantage of induction cooking.
Super, thank you. We have a question here. Homeowner has a flat roof, so there's no ducting possible in the roof area. This homeowner says, I want to add central AC to the entire house. Can this system, and I'm assuming in this case we're talking about a mini split or some sort of heat pump system, accommodate that room? The homeowner says, I have central air in the rest of the house. So this is an addition. Sorry, I forgot that part. This is an addition with a flat roof. So perhaps Curtis?
Is there a crawl space below in this area? Is the other, that would be a good question for me to first ask, because what I would say then is we can put a smaller size ducted unit underneath the house. The great part about these mini split systems is they can be sized in various BTU capacity. There are single room ducted units, so that could be done in base. I would say that would probably be the best option, large enough, say, access point to that area. The other options is there's a floor cassette that can sit low at the instead of looking at, say, a high wall unit. The ceiling cassette, of course, wouldn't work in that arrangement, but the two I would say best for that there would be a centrally ducted system, mini split under the floor if it's there's the crawl space, or a floor mount system.
Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Yeah, we have done a lot of these where we take a little bit of space in the corner of the room and we build a ducted system on the wall and we frame it in. And so it just looks like a tiny little closet step off in this corner of the room with a door, and the system is right behind there. The ductwork is all concealed and the system is really easy to service there. So it gives you that kind of central heating feel without putting a wall mount on the wall.
Yeah, so we do the same kind of idea. You can build a cabinet around these things or whatever, mount them on the sidewall and have them distribute up and pull the air from below, or use a ductless, which would be the simpler, less expensive route.
Thank you. Question. Question was, should I have my, I'm assuming attic area inspected for rodents before you get an inspection for energy?
We will be able to tell you if there's rodents up there. Right, Keith?
Yeah, yeah. Pretty much. It's all coming out, so it's either way.
So basically, it's a twofer. You're getting the rodent inspection as part of your energy inspection.
Just getting all of it gone. Rodents, what I've seen in the Bay Area is rodents tend to really like the fiberglass bats that we have in a lot of our Bay Area attics, and we just remove it all, and all the rodents come with it with these giant vacuums we use, and we just suck it all out of there. If it's blown in, and bag it off, it's bats, and it all goes, and then just start over and rodent proof your house, make sure they don't get back in there. And they tend to not like cellulose as much as fiberglass from my experience.
Thank you. Seems like we're sort of coming up on the end of the questions. We have only about 4 or 5 more minutes before we'd like to bring this to a close. If anybody else has a question, there's a little bit of time left.
We've got one about heat pumps and water.
Heat pumps, okay, sorry, okay. Do heat pump, water heaters take longer to heat water than traditional gas water heater?
Yes.
Absolutely.
But we get bigger tanks, so you hopefully don't draw it down so much, and then you don't experience those issues. But if you have half a dozen teenage kids or something, you're gonna have an issue unless we put in multiple.
I have yet to have a customer complain about lack of hot water. They do have alternative settings where we can run them very efficiently on just the heat pump mode. And then when the kids come home from college, you can put it on the quick recovery mode. But we take that into consideration when we're sizing these units based on the size of your house and your family. And we can recommend the right system for your needs. But just understand that if you have a 40-gallon water heater now, these start at 50 and go to 80. So you're gonna have to wrap your head around that. But we will make the recommendations for the best system for you. And the big issue is they save an incredible amount of money. and they're completely clean and carbon free. It's an amazing technology.
Thank you. Question, does cellulose tend to compact more than fiberglass?
Someone else could, it depends on the application, and the density that it's installed in and how it's installed. Like we inject water in line as we install it, so it's called stabilized. So it doesn't settle as much because it's already at that settled depth when we install it. But it is a heavier substance, so it will settle more, but we account for that on install, what it's going to be settling afterwards.
I was going to give a really funny answer, but then he got really serious on me. So it really depends how hard it's going to settle. It depends on how heavy the guy's stepping on it is. So
That's right.
as long as once we're done insulating your attic space, if you don't go up there, I mean, the settling is taken into consideration in the operations of installing it.
Okay. This one, I think probably either for Tony or Damien, looking at a whole house window replacement. And in this case, BayREN is not the program for that, but perhaps one of you guys could make recommendations on other programs that might work.
Well, first of all, I think all of these contractors are doing a whole house thing when they're looking at the work that they're doing, albeit the rebates are very, you can get a rebate here for this, a rebate here for that. But if you want to do a whole house, there's no reason why they can't do that analysis and still get as many rebates as they possibly can through the BayREN program. Are there rebates above and beyond that? That's questionable. Contractors will know better than I do if PG&E is still providing rebates for that, but I don't think they are anymore. Is that correct?
For Windows?
Specifically for Windows, I think that's the question.
Oh, Windows, there's no rebates for Windows, right? Yeah.
No, but you
It's
can
not
use the
cost
Go
effective.
Green. You can go green financing with that. We do Windows here, and that really helps with the cost of window replacement. It's a little bit lower on the scale of energy improvements. So I believe that's why the BayREN program focuses more of their funds towards, say, some of these other upgrades that we've been talking about. But Go Green is a getting financing through local credit unions can help with the cost there.
Yeah, and I would also challenge, do everything else to your home before you do windows, because windows are so expensive. You can actually make your home quite comfortable, doing other things before you actually do window replacement. And yes, and we used to do rebates for windows, but the California Public Utilities Commission is just not, it's not cost effective for us to allow for rebates for windows because they are expensive to do.
So the other options tend to be financing, I guess, and you can find options for lower cost financing for bigger projects like that.
Oh, this is Tony Jung. Just mentioned it's till the end of the year, but there's a federal tax credit available to the end of this calendar year. So we're talking less than 2 months from now. So there's 10% tax credit available up to $500, but I think windows cap out at $200. So it barely covers the cost of a window for tax of a window. So there's the federal tax credit, but it's a very small amount, $500 is the limit. But any improvements you do into the home, insulation, HVAC, you can take advantage of the federal tax credit if you get it done this year. The rebate program officially ends on December 15th with the 2020 program. On December 16th, the 2021 rebate program begins. So just know we're going to shift the program on December 16th for that. So just a reminder that if the rebate incentives are right, this is something to consider doing now because you have small things like the federal tax credit. One thing also noting about the question about windows. Windows might not be the cause of discomfort in your home. Get a whole house evaluation. Find out what is the weakest link in your home. Think of everything like the walls, the ceilings, HVAC, windows. Think of it like a chain. What's the weakest link in your home? Find out what that is. Is it air leaks? Is it lack of insulation? It's not necessarily windows. Find that weakest link through a home evaluation. It could be a basic one like the home energy score, or more thorough one, which does a blower door, which will tell you if it's air leaks, and duct test. How bad are your ducts? California, they did a study in California of new and old homes. They found the average house leaks 30% on your ducts. That's 30 cents of every dollar is being lost in distribution of air to your home, cooling or heating. So that's average in California. If your heating system isn't keeping up, it could be duct loss. Get an evaluation, know where the problems are before you start putting money into something. You might find a more cost-effective solution, like maybe air sealing and insulation, more than replacing windows. So, but sometimes windows are the problem, but take a good look at everything first before you start investing your money. Spend it wisely. A good assessment, home energy score, are all things that help give you the right start. Or talk with any of the good contractors here. Having a discussion with them, tell you what's happening in your home, and then they can help you find the right solutions for what you need. That's coming from an energy advisor. Call us too if you have questions. We'll help guide you to the right contractors or have that discussion and give you the information to make a good informed decision.
We're closing in on the 6:30 time when I'd like for us to be able to finish up. We have 3 more questions in the queue at this point. I'll give very quick answers to each one with the intention that we will send out written answers to all of these questions along with the other information, the slides and so on and so forth. Window film or inserts are not covered under the BayREN program. I think probably Damian and Tony would say that the BayREN program in 2021, they're taking a look at it right now as to what sort of rebates will be available, but it's probably going to be on about the same scale as the ones that are available now. And there is a thermostat on a smart thermostat. You can get a rebate on that. With that, what I'd like to do is
May I ask if there are any questions in Spanish?
Please.
Hola, ahora tenemos nuestro tiempo dedicado. Si ustedes tienen algunas preguntas en español sobre el taller, pero también les quería mencionar que el reto ambiental de Contra Costa Challenge también está disponible en español, así que si quieren hacer el reto o si quieren más información, pueden ir a ese sitio para ver todo en español.
Thank you. So while I wrap up, if any questions come in, either through a raised hand or written, we'll see. Ellie would be quite happy to help us get those answered. To sort of wrap up this evening, we really appreciate all of you who attended. We appreciate all of your interest in the program. And I want to thank also all of the presenters this evening, and that included Colleen Nolan, Damian Hardman, our 3 contractors, Larry Waters, Curtis Weintier, and Keith O'Hare, and our homeowner, Maureen Morelli. We also have Ellie, who has been working to keep us online and keep us active this evening. And our producer for this evening has been Tyler Snordham Phelps. We do ask that you go to the website that is shown. We do have a short survey that we would appreciate it if you could fill out for us so that we know what we're doing right and what we can improve the next time. Notice that there's a 866 number. You can contact the energy advisor. I didn't mention it this evening, but Tony works with the energy advisor group, and they've got a tremendous amount of resources to be able to help you find the right contractor, help you sort through any bids that you may get, and so on and so forth. You can also reach the group through the email advisor@bayren.org. And Damian and I are both available either by email or by telephone to answer additional questions as well. Again, we really appreciate your attendance this evening. We hope that this has been useful and that as a result, more people will be able to save more energy. Their homes will be more comfortable, and the cost of keeping their homes comfortable will go down. And with that, I thank you, and we'd like to close out.
Thanks, everyone. Good job.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.